you will make money. If you're spending $500 a month on accounts and you take one payout for $2,500, well, you just 5 extra money. And I think you have to treat it like a business. Forget you got $50,000 of capital and you got it's not that. You have $2,000 of drawdown. You have to be realistic about it, because the prop firms, as much as I advocate for them, their marketing, their language, they're designed for the trader to unfortunately lose, because that's how they make their money. They don't make their money paying out traders. It's the unfortunate fact of the reality of the business. But at the same time, they're giving you a chance to take their money.
All right, folks, we've got Randy Bains in the house here. You may have seen him live streaming, trading live in front of the audience. Well done, mate, for that. I tell you what, I've been trying to do it in the past couple of months, and it is hard. It is hard. To start off with, before we dive into your journey, I mean, how did you get to the point where trading in front of an audience was, everyday sort of occurrence for you?
Well, for me, it started with my mentorship with Austin Silver and ASFX. When I mentored with him, he has a live stream every morning that he does. And I never realized how valuable it is to try and learn something from a live stream versus watching videos, reading material. I think seeing things happening in real time give you a perspective that you cannot get from a book. You cannot get it from watching a replay of something, seeing especially trading, the emotions, how to handle something, news come in, getting, stopped out or making a bad entry because you're just FOMOing. It happens in real time, and it happens to the best of traders. So I think watching this live stream every day when I was learning to trade, and then eventually Austin just inviting me on here and there. And I remember the first few times I went on, I was just petrified. And I couldn't multitask. I couldn't look at the charts, read the chat, execute a trade, whether it be in a prop account, not attached to TradingView. So Trade-Evade open, TradingView open, all my analysis on trading. It was but you eventually get to a point where you just start to flow, and it becomes very natural. And then for me, I think it was just the comments in the chat, like, when you made a mistake and the chat was like, I made the same mistake, or hey, it feels good to see this happen, not just to me, but to see it happen in real time. I think that pushed me just to do it. And every day now I get up and I honestly feel like I'm on a trading floor with a group of friends. We have, quite a community where there's, 25, 30% of the chat is active every morning, the same group of people. So it's like you build this relationship with people, and over time, it just goes away. You forget about you just sit in front of a bunch of people like an audience, and I don't even think about that.
Yeah, because I saw you jump into my, I think you must have clicked on one of my streams just the other day,
yes.
Obviously, because we're going to be doing this thing. And I mean, I've been struggling to detach and just do what I normally do, and feel like I'm here. I'm like, I do these podcasts, I've got to entertain, and therefore it's like, am I trading or am I entertaining here? What's going on? If I was trading, I probably wouldn't be talking as much, and I wouldn't be like focused on giving these guys something to take away, which is hard for me to do. And I'll get there. I know I will, but it's been difficult.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right. Get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free. And all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
Now, before we go any further into this, let's go back to your journey. So for those that don't know you, where did it all start, and how did you get to the point where you're out there with Austin and, streaming every day?
So for me, the initial, you can say, interest or journey began, would have been over 10 years ago now. I was just really, I had a construction business that was everything was doing well, but I was just always interested in the markets, and I was always interested in stocks and what I thought was trading, but eventually I figured out as I became a trader that it was just investing. And I saw it every morning. I'd be watching, BNN, which in Canada is our MSNBC, if I said that right, but our business channel. That instead of news, I'd be watching business news, always trying to understand companies, what's going on. And where I'm located in Vancouver, BC in Canada, and it's very common to know somebody that knows somebody that's in the gold mining space. There's a lot of, very well-known gold mines based in BC. A lot of the headquarters for a lot of these gold mines are based in BC. So through somebody, I heard about a junior gold mine coming up. I think I had about, it was close to like $25,000 I invested into it. It was all the money I had, like savings. And it didn't put me in any position to be worried about anything. But this company ended up getting bought out, and it was a 10-bagger. So I went from 25 grand to basically $250,000.
Oh, wow.
And so the amount of time I watched BNN, and, I thought, again, I was a trader and I knew what I was doing. I said, hey, I made this money really fast. I should put this into blue chip stocks or something that's, going to be a little bit more safer now. I bought biopharmaceutical at the time. There's a Canadian company, a pharmaceutical company. It was one of the biggest companies on the TSX, which was our index, and they were about to get listed on the NASDAQ. Put a bunch of money in that, and another Canadian department store, very well-known, 200-year-old company. And basically one morning I woke up and the pharmaceutical company was being short. A short report came out on it. I didn't even know what short selling was.
Right.
I bought it at $3.25 a share. And by the time I got to my desk, it was down to 77. Again, not knowing anything, thinking I knew everything, I decided to buy more, thinking I'm going to dollar cost average into this. And it eventually went to zero.
Oh,
so I lost about 175,000 of that money. The last little bit I had left in that department store, they basically had, I was into it for $30 a share. They had about $40 a share worth of real estate, so it was a safe bet. They ended up going private, bought back all their shares for $20. So I lost almost the last bit of what I had left. When I didn't understand the markets. I thought I knew what I was doing, but at that time, I really had no idea. So I stayed away for years. Up until about 3 years ago, I was really tired with my current the construction business. It was getting really hard. The margins were really getting tight. We were expecting our first child. I wanted to change, and so I said, I'm going to look at the markets again. I searched up day trading since I was interested in it, and Austin Silver's podcast came up. I knew nothing about Forex. I listened to the first 100 episodes. Decided I'm going to learn to trade Forex.
Right. So that was it. Okay.
I get on the phone. I set up a call with Austin to join his mentorship. And he tells me that they're not trading Forex anymore, that they were starting to trade futures.
Mm.
I said, what's futures? No idea what futures were.
Right.
And he said, well, you know what? Welcome in. I'm going to show you what I know and teach you what I can and work with the coaches. And I went into it knowing absolutely nothing. And here I am 2.5 years later. Now I'm trading futures full-time, stream with Austin. We do coaching. We developed an indicator. So there's a bunch of other stuff that came out of the woodworks, but that was my journey to here. And then, the first, obviously, the story that people say the first 1 to 3 years are when you make it. I still technically haven't made it in my mind, and I'm almost 3 years in. So.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, it's funny you missed the whole Forex bandwagon that went on for a long time. And I mean, I still trade. Well, I don't even know what to call it now. It's kind of Forex / CFDs, really. So it's contracts for difference. I mean, I did dive into futures this year, and I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy trading futures, albeit it was a little bit clunky, and I made some real rookie mistakes, like just orders being left on the chart and waking up in the morning going, what the hell is going on here? And losing prop firm accounts and whatnot. Now, we talk a lot about strategy and mindset here on the Trading Nut podcast, but that doesn't really matter unless you've got the right environment to trade in. So if you're struggling with a prop firm, then I recommend checking out our partner, propfirmmatch.com. These folks have got a massive database of prop firms, got them all verified there with customer reviews. It's completely impartial and transparent. It's worthwhile checking them out. There's a coupon code and link in the description that's going to help you save some money at checkout too. So I know you went through a bit of turmoil around getting to the point of obviously the stock stuff, but once you got into futures, it wasn't a straight road, was it? I mean, there was some ups and downs. So how did you overcome that? And what were some of the big hurdles?
Well, I'm going to say, and like, I'm a big advocate of it, whether it's, it's Discord, it's even just having a trading partner. I think community has been huge for me. And what I was saying to you at the beginning before we started recording was, and the more people I meet now, and I never realized how much of a problem it was, and especially now growing a social media brand, you start to realize it, but just there's so much, fake shit out there and scams and whatnot, and I'm going to do this for you or take your money and become part of this group. And I think people get discouraged when they join a community and it doesn't work out. And I think when you do find that community, you really got to nurture it. I think for me, having that community, and that's, I'm sitting on this podcast with you now. I truly believe if I didn't have the right community, I wouldn't still be in this and I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. So community was a big one. I mean, just really, I'm 44 years old, so it's easier for me to say, like, to look back and reflect on the journey so far. But I think a lot of just looking inward and understanding I'm taking this task on, I have two options. I can quit or I can survive. And surviving can be 10 years, 5 years, 1 year. It all depends on what your outlook is.
And did you find that like part of the community aspect was accountability, or did you try and use it as an accountability partner in some way, shape or form? I'm not too sure what Austin does in that space there.
So accountability is probably one of the biggest things. I think you can be an amazing trader, but until you're actually honest with yourself, you have those tilt days that you never have to talk about. And we just actually we have a podcast ourselves, me and two of the other Black Shirt members from the community started our own podcast a year ago to talk specifically about the struggles of year 1 to 3. Because you hear all the great stories of I struggled and I'm taking payouts and I made this and I made that. Well, let's hear about I haven't taken a payout and how am I surviving? Why am I still doing this? So I think the accountability just puts you in a place where you have to understand the reason you're doing this. Because it's like, I have we get stuck being comfortable, whether it's even though we're not comfortable technically, like we're miserable trying to learn something, you still get comfortable with breaking rules or doing whatever it is. And when somebody forces that out of you through accountability, then you must also be like, well, they're watching before I put 10 minis on this trade. That's a terrible idea. I don't want to explain and it's just respect, I think, because they give you the same thing back by when they are coming out of their comfortability to explain something to you. Because you can see it the first time somebody blows up in our group or in any group and they got to confront everybody in the group and say this happened, you can feel the shame. And I think once you get over that shame and realize it's candlesticks on a chart, you made a mistake, your house didn't burn down, you know what I mean? Like you still... You didn't catch on fire, like the worst possible thing that you think would have happened when you made this mistake didn't happen. So it just brings it all. And then I think for other people in the group, they just see it and they're like, shit, I'm not and I love telling people this because then like, you're not the only one making the mistake. Everybody here is making the same mistake. Everybody here is doing the same thing right. Yeah. You see both sides of it and then you start to grow and you can see it in real time and people really, people that want it, I think trading is one of those things. If you truly want it, it's possible. It's with prop firms, with the amount of capital you can put in personal accounts. If you have a job and you're not relying on trading as your sole income, I think you 100% can get to a place in your life where trading could be your sole income. But it is a lot of work to get there, obviously. You've interviewed countless hundreds of traders, right? So you would hear the top to the bottom. And I'm slowly hearing the top to the bottom, and I use that kind of as the fuel for my fire. And then just helping people, I think, is being a part of community. And then once in that community, going back to that, sorry, I get sidetracked, but I think being a part of the community, once you start helping people and you see them change and then you see them help people, it's cool, right? It's like the evolution of being a good human. I always constantly say what you put out in the universe, you're going to get back. Yeah. And
100%. I mean, look, I think going back to a couple of those points, I mean, I think one of the things that makes it so hard what I like about what you guys do, Austin and yourself, super transparent, you're posting losses regularly. I mean, I took 2 losses on the stream yesterday, and that was after taking a win and a break even, which I didn't stream. But I was like, oh, this is just like, in the back of my mind, I'm going, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? But the reality is, I mean, I probably wouldn't have taken those trades if I was not trading on stream. They didn't meet my rules. So I was breaking rules. But then the perception out there is that everyone who is trading or who's got a profile is, perfect trader. Hardly ever makes mistakes. Oh yeah, I'll post one loss like in like the last 50 wins, and I've made like $400,000, blah blah blah. It's unrealistic, right? I think it's probably more realistic to think about it like a sport, right? So a professional sports person goes out, let's say a golfer, and they're going to swing the club, and they're going to make mistakes, right? They're going to make mistakes, and they're still going to try and get to the end point of putting the ball in the hole. But they're going to make mistakes, and they just live with those mistakes and accept the mistakes. And that's probably the hardest part to do, is accept the mistakes you're probably going to make and limit them. I mean, what do you think about the concept of doing things you don't want to do to become a successful trader?
I think you got to do that with anything in life. And I only found that mantra after getting into trading. And I think when you do something hard or doing the things you don't want to do, it's going to show you that you have the discipline, but you just have even like fortitude and grit. Like, it's just like, the one thing I will say, talking about streaming and the reason finding that entertainment education balance is, some days if there's not a trade presenting in the market, we will sit there on stream, and I would also recommend to you to try and find someone to stream with. It takes a lot of the pressure off, but we'll have a 30-minute conversation between the three of us, and we'll be joking around, and we're doing that. So it's like, we're not forcing ourselves to have to take a trade.
Yeah.
And then people will start to appreciate that, where it's like, as much as we want to be like, okay, now like it would be way cooler for us to just take trades. Oh, price is bouncing here. Price is doing this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right. And it's like, we got to remind ourselves, we got to do the hard thing. We got to do what's right. We got people watching us. People are, and we have a 9-second delay on our stream on purpose, because, it's not about signals for us, but people are watching us because, they want to learn. And then there's people that do watch us that want to take the same trades as us. There's no way around it. And so if we're just, taking trades for the sake of taking trades, it's just, what does that do? And trading's the thing where the more times you spend on the charts, awesome. But the less times you click that button, you're going to be much, much better off. Yeah. And I'm not saying you need chart time. It's very important, but it's also just as easy to click your trigger finger on the mouse and hit buy and sell. Right. So it's,
And I do think you're right in terms of like having multiple people on there. It probably does help, and that's where I'm falling short as well. And I mean, look, I've just started doing it, so I'm gonna struggle a bit, and I know that. Right. So, what about like mindset, routines, stuff like that? How have you built that into what you do around your trading?
So for me, mindset, I think is key. I'm a big psychological trader. I look at like just even psychological levels on the chart sometimes, and round numbers, but routine is key. I think routine is one of those things, but in the beginning, when I first started trading, I made my morning routine overwhelming. And over time, it turned from doing like 10 things into 5 things. And then it just, out of those 5 things, which 3 of those things are non-negotiable? So now I'm at a place where I don't trade for the first 15 minutes of the New York Open. We wait for the opening range to set. So I'm guaranteed 15 minutes of time to look at the charts before I have to think about what I'm going to do. Where before I was getting to the charts an hour early. I need to look at the higher time frame. I need to look at this. And then it was like one of my non-negotiables, whether it was breath work, stretching, the few things I do in the morning was getting put to the wayside because I thought I had to be at the desk to stare at the charts pre-market. And so once I started to find that balance, like I said, now I know I get up at 4:45 a.m. every morning. I'm on the West Coast in Vancouver, so it's 6:30 a.m. is New York Open. So I'm up at 4:45. I know from 4:45 till about 6, I get to do breath work. I get to do a little bit of meditation, and then I do some stretching, and I have like a power plate, like a vibration board that I do some just like lymphatic drainage, whatever you want to call it, on this vibration plate. I do that. That's a non-negotiable. Electrolytes, non-negotiable. And then I start to plan my morning out, and I get to the desk. And I think before I was trying to get outside, go for a walk, try and lift some weights, do the breath work, do this, and this. And it came to a point where I didn't have time, and I would just get flustered getting to the desk.
Yeah.
So I think morning routine is very important, but you also got to have a morning routine that you're capable of always doing. So, and now for me, the gym is, I'm done trading by 10 or 11 a.m. and that's time for the gym for me. Where before I was trying to fit it in the morning before, like how cool would it be to get a workout in, some free weights before I came to the desk? Cause it just sounds, I've been up since 3 a.m. and I did this, and this before I got to the desk. Well, no, I value sleep now more than I ever did.
Mm. So what time do you wrap up for the day then, if you're getting up that early?
So right now it's 3 p.m. here, and I'm at the end of the day for me. Like I'm done with the screens. Usually I'll take a break for 2 or 3 hours in between the day, go to the gym, try and have lunch or whatnot. But I'm usually done on the screens by 2 p.m., 1 p.m. sometimes the latest. But then also the other downfall of that is Asia opens at 3. Asia opens in 8 minutes for me. And if I'm not doing anything, or if I'm working on some content on the computer, there's always going to be a chart open. So I try to stay away from Asia, but I trade it more than I'd like to.
Right. Okay. So you will jump back in later on.
Yeah.
For the Asia session. Okay. Interesting. And so just so everyone knows, what markets you're trading?
I'm trading ES or MES, the futures market. So I actually just took a trade on NASDAQ the other day, my second trade out of like 500. I'm starting to look at it, but I trade ES predominantly looking at NQ and YM. So I'm looking at the 3 futures, the indexes, and I'm trading ES predominantly, but I'm looking always at the 3 and seeing if we're getting a divergence, if we're getting alignment. Which is the stronger of the 3, who's kind of seeing who's in the lead and who's behind and who's stuck in the middle.
And so if you had to sort of like, you mentioned divergence, psychological levels, what are the sort of foundations around what you guys are trading there from a strategy point of view?
So when I first joined the group, it was mainly focused on the VWAP, volume weighted average price. And as Austin and Evan and James developed that into the opening range, which is the first 15 minutes of the New York session. Then you have the initial balance, which is the first hour. We incorporated that into the trading, and eventually the initial balance kind of faded away, and we just looked at the opening range and the VWAP. And then one of the guys that we were trading with was trading ICT concepts, and he was using volume profile. And I was very interested in the volume profile. So I started looking at it. I started talking to Austin about it. He was kind of like, nah, he didn't want anything to do with it, didn't want to hear about it. And, slowly when you're streaming every day, it's on my charts, and he would see it. He'd get a little more interested. And so now we trade mainly VWAP, opening range, and volume profile. Previous days volume profile, to be more specific, but I look at previous weeks also, not developing volume profile, either previous days and then for me previous week. And then the other main tool that I use and Austin use is Bookmap. We use order flow.
Okay, right. And how do you find, how important or how much weighting do you give to the order flow?
So I always like to, it changes from day to day. Like it could be like, so 1, 2, and 3, it could be VWAP, volume profile, order flow, or some days order flow, VWAP, volume profile. So they all have the same kind of hierarchy. But I think when you're learning to trade or taking on something new, order flow is one of those ones that can be very, very dangerous. I spent about 3 months reading order flow completely wrong when I first got Bookmap. I didn't really understand it. And so I had it up beside my chart for about 6 months before I really started to grasp the concept of what I was looking at. Because the interesting thing with order flow is there's somebody that I see the long presenting and somebody sees the short presenting.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and both trades could be 100% valid. Like I could take the long, and then as soon as they trade up into that liquidity that I'm using as a target, people are entering there to get short. And so it's one of those ones I just recommend, like anything, is just have it up on your chart and just watch it and try to understand it, because price action trading, there's mechanics to it, but there's also discretion. And my discretion and your discretion are two completely different things. Like you could be a short seller, I could be a long only. And we could be looking at the same price action and building our thesis in completely different ways and both be 100% right. Yeah. As crazy as that sounds. People don't want to hear that. But we did an event in Tampa where 2 people went short and 3 people went long on the panel live trading, and everybody made money.
Yeah. Because it depends on where you get out, right? I mean, it's like you might not have the sniper entry, but you're gonna make money if you can make money doing that. Now, I mean, I know you did a lot around prop firms, and you're primarily a prop firm focused trader, right? What kind of tips and tricks have you got for anyone interested in, like, you know, either starting out or improving their prop firm game? What would you recommend?
So for first and foremost, I think you need to have a budget when it comes to prop firms. I think whether it's, you know, you can afford $50 a month, $500 a month. Some people I can spend anywhere up to $1,000 to $2,000 a month on prop firms, expecting an ROI on that. But again, it's all relative to your budget. There's options for everyone when it comes to your budget. It doesn't mean you have to go buy an instant funded account for $350. You can buy an evaluation account for $19. Trade it for a month, and you know, when you pass it, activate it and whatnot. But I think budget is really important, because prop firms can be, you know, anytime you can just click buy with your credit card, it puts you in a position to, there's no repercussions, there's no recourse until your credit card is declined. So it's vicious in that sense, but again, you're getting access to capital. You're getting access to learn how to trade, and the ROI, if you look at it and treat it like a business, you will make money. If you're spending $500 a month on accounts and you take one payout for $2,500, well, you just 5x your money. And I think you have to treat it like a business. Forget you got $50,000 of capital and you got it's not that. You have $2,000 of drawdown. You have to be realistic about it, because the prop firms, as much as I advocate for them, their marketing, their language, they're designed for the trader to unfortunately lose, because that's how they make their money. They don't make their money paying out traders. It's the unfortunate fact of the reality of the business. But at the same time, they're giving you a chance to take their money. So it goes both ways. But I think a budget is really important, and I think you just got to you take your time. Forget everything you see on social media. It's 5% of it is probably true. I think the people that show in 2026 seems to be the year where people are starting to be more transparent and saying, well, I made $100,000 in payouts, but I spent $35,000. Well, 99% of the people trading out there and learning to trade don't have $35,000 of money to spend on prop firms. And say you didn't take a payout and you spent $35,000. There's lots of people that have done that. You know, there's people that have taken 6 figures more out of prop firms and spent literally 75, like they're getting a 25% return on their money, but they're spending 75 grand to make 100. Well, you're like, that's you're making money, but still that 75,000 had to come from somewhere.
And so what do you think that is? I mean, do you think people, and I'm kind of even thinking about yourself as well here, right? So you've got a monthly budget for prop firms. What happened to the whole gig of, like, you know, keeping the account and just constantly getting, you know, payouts without actually having to keep paying for the prop firm account? I mean, what happened to that one? Or have you got a different strategy that you take to make that happen?
I think the longer you trade prop firms, you realize you're not going to get to a place where you want to make X amount of dollars off one account. Especially now with the prop firms and rules and payout caps. Before, when it was Top Step and Lucid are still 2 of the firms. Even Top Step has payout caps now. Lucid has payout caps. But before, when the firms, you could just run the firm, trade the firm for a month, have 25 grand buffer in the account and take it out. Those days don't really exist anymore. Right. So now you're looking at a $2,500 payout max cap. Trade 5 more days and then another 20. Like, so rules in place now to really limit the downside, because they're obviously they were becoming not profitable, or they weren't going to survive. So you can't blame them for that, because then there wouldn't be no more prop firms. So, you have to just be a little bit more aggressive with them. And this is, again, like that entertainment education balancing act. We do it every day with prop firms. Like, I don't know what you can afford. So it's even harder for me to just say, buy the $19 account, even though they're not the best prop firm. The path to payout is going to be the hardest, but that's what you have to work with.
Right.
Where it's like other people they can afford to copy trade 20 accounts, which could be a couple $1,000 investment, but the payout on that is going to be 10, 20x if they can get to a payout. So it's all relative, but I used to believe when I first started trading with props that getting a live account with the prop firm was the goal. And we preached this on stream, and we talked about, trading one account for so long so that the firm recognizes you and you become a live trader. And now, as they start to change their live programs, these prop firms, that doesn't even look, it's not very attracting. Like, I'm actually in the process of, I just had opened an account with the Interactive Brokers, and I'm going to be trading personal capital alongside of the prop firms.
Right.
Because the props are a great space to learn, but they're not going to be easy to scale to a level that if you're looking to scale, it's going to be tough to do with prop firms unless you're copy trading a ton of accounts, and then you can have issues with the trade copier. All of a sudden you get payouts denied. So I'm going to do some trade copying, but I'm going to have my personal account as my leader. So it's like worst case scenario, whatever happens in the copy traded accounts happens, but the leader account is the one taking the trade, and that's the one that's going to execute. Because I think at some point you want to trade your own personal capital.
And so with like, if you're going to select or instruct someone to go and try and find a prop firm, a futures prop firm on the likes of Prop Firm Match, you're sponsoring the show. I mean, what would you recommend they look for from a futures prop firm?
So Prop Firm Match is where I'm going to say the go-to. It's the same thing. I'm doing some work for them also. I think their presence in the space was long needed. I think to be able to, because even for our podcast that we never wanted a sponsor. And actually, funny enough, Prop Firm Match just became our first sponsor only because it gives you the ability to choose the prop firm that suits you, not Randy trades with Top One Futures, even though I love them. They're a great firm, but people are going to feel they have to trade with them because I trade with them. And that might not be the answer for that. They might need to go to Apex and pay for a $19 account, the cheapest one out there. And that might suit their budget versus, the $350 account with Top One Futures. So I think Prop Firm Match for sure. You go there, but again, you have to, and this takes time, understand your trading style, your strategy. Are you a scalper? Do you like to hold your trades longer? Can you trade with an intraday trailing drawdown? I recommend anybody learning to trade doesn't trade with an intraday trailing drawdown, but some of those accounts that have that trailing drawdown are more lucrative. So if you're ready for it, give it a crack. But if you're just learning to trade, I would just, figure out your trading style. Go buy something cheap. Go buy an evaluation account, something that has an activation fee baked into it. There's accounts now you can get on sale, like Lucid has one for $70 right now, $50,000 challenge account. And if you pass it, it's activated. So $70, you're all in. And there, it's a great product. They're on Prop Firm Match. You can go on Prop Firm Match, read the reviews. Another thing I love about Prop Firm Match is you can actually see the reviews and see what people are saying. And you would know, you've talked with them, and I've met them now in person in Tampa. Their MO is to find prop firms and do the due diligence so you don't have to, and then it's all in one spot. Like at the end of the day, they're not, whether the prop firm survives or goes ahead doesn't make a difference to them. They're there to put the information out there and be like, here's the information now, which we all should as adults make a decision. We have chat, we have Claude, we have multiple tools at our disposal to take this information that's in one place now and figure out what suits you best. And even honestly, I would even say start with AI. Have a conversation with your chat. See what style of trading. Throw your markups in there. I constantly throw my markups and my trades in chat, and we chat about them all the time and work on things and what am I doing wrong and right and where can I get help.
That's good. That's a good little tip there. I actually had not thought about that around chucking your charts up there and getting a view on it. So, I mean, is there any sort of insights that have come out from AI that you've like thought, okay, well, maybe I should make that change, or yeah, I did break that rule.
I can hold on to my losers for a lot longer than I need to. And I think that is just, again, these are the things of double-edged sword. Like there's a part of me that people will say, like, you have balls of steel. You can just hold on to these trades and hold on to them. And it's just like, it almost makes me more stubborn. And I want to hold on to my trades when I get opportunities to, and I do it on the winning side too, because I just see the idea and I want to see it through. And it's a great trait. But again, at trading, you got to also have a level of discretion. And being mechanical and saying, I'm here and here, I can't do anything until it gets to here or here, also puts you in a box. And it limits now your ability, especially in market conditions, all-time highs, war in Iran, whatever it is, the headlines just seem to, something always driving something.
Yeah.
You need to have that level of discretion. So AI's really like helped me with just letting go of some of that mechanical, systematic approach that I can be when it comes to trading.
Yeah, I like to look at the drawdown when I'm back testing, right? So when I'm back testing, go, right, okay, well, if I was going to take that trade, maybe I need to wait. It's going to be like 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half of drawdown before it goes and hits take profit. Okay, so how many times is that happening? Is that happening on every trade? Is that happening, like very rarely? Do I want to get out of those trades and just, go, I'm just going to wait for the next setup? And so that's in itself a rule that can be added into your testing. So if you're not doing that and working out, okay, well, this is the strategy, it works, but accepting the fact that you're in drawdown for whatever period of time, it's kind of a delusion that, oh yeah, bang, I'm in, I'm out. Not always going to be the case.
Hey, if candlesticks still confuse you, they're costing you more than you think. My private mentor JJ's decoded 25,000 hours of trading into one better candlestick. Click the link in the description or visit tradingnut.com to watch the free video and grab the free guide.
Now, to sort of wrap this thing up, so if you're going to give somebody like a bit of advice around like steps to get to where you are now, like withdrawing from prop firms, you're thinking about putting money into a personal account to trade as well, what would be the sort of key 3 steps that you'd recommend?
So I think first and foremost, and I touched on this at the beginning, is community. And I don't mean go join something and be there for the sake of joining it. Join something, put in the effort, engage. If you get back, like if your cup is being filled, then pursue. If your cup is not being filled, go find another one. There's millions of communities, millions. I had no idea how big this space was until I got into making social media content. It absolutely blow. There's people out there with millions of followers, traders that I've never even heard of, or anybody that I know that I trade with has ever heard of. And I thought the ecosystem that Austin introduced me to was the world of trading, and that's it. And, I can be in a conversation on Discord with guys, that combined have 10 million followers, and it's this much of the pie. Like do you know what I mean? Like even Cam, like how now we met is just crazy. And it's like the audience that you have, they've probably never heard of me, nor my audience is the same. Like, it's just so wild when you think of it. So there's tons of communities. I definitely community. Trading at home behind your computer is such a lonely thing. So find community, find a place where you feel good about yourself and you want to, and you're going to trade. And then the other big thing I think is just understand that you got to survive this learning curve. And you're going to have, I had a month where I was 3 or 4 months, I took a payout every single week. And then I had 3 months of nothing. So it's like, and then prior to that was 14 months of nothing. So the thing with trading, it comes in waves, but you have to zoom out and remember, even though in the short term it feels like this, in the long term, it's going to be this. Right. But just in short term, it doesn't feel like that smooth incline. It just feels like here, up and down the waves. So it's like, if you start to understand those waves will just get less and less. And then if you look out 1 year, 5 years, 10 years back, and you're going to be like, oh shit, I could see the trajectory. If you asked me a year ago, I would not picture I would be here having this conversation a year ago. You asked me 2 years ago, I did not even think I'd be trading still. Ask me next year where you think I'm going to be, and it's going to not be what I thought I was going to be. Like, we're relocating to Mexico in September. Never in a million years did I think that would be possible.
Right.
Right. And it's just working remote, being able to trade. I'm not going to wait to retire to do that. We went and did it for a few months this last year and realized this is how we want to live our lives in this small little community and on the beach. So we're going to do it.
Awesome.
And not by any means it's going to be easy, because we still have a budget and we still are renting a place, and can we afford this and do this, and what do we do? We're letting go of our place here and everything here we're selling. So it's quite scary, but it's like, just like trading, you got to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
You got to break free, right? And when you do, you'll start to look at things much, much differently.
Awesome. Hey, well, look, Randy, it's been fantastic having you on. What we'll do is jump on a price chart and you'll show us a few things. So if you do want to stick around for that, there'll be another video dropping. But before we do that, what's the best way for folks to find out more about you?
The Randy Bains everywhere. So basically Instagram, X, YouTube. I also, we do a podcast called Behind the Charts, and it's just the struggles of trading. And if you want to just come and watch a podcast and feel like you're sitting in a room having a conversation with a couple of struggling traders, I think that's the number one the best feedback we get all the time. So Behind the Charts on YouTube, and then everywhere else, it's The Randy Bains. And then obviously, like Cam said, we stream every morning on ASFX TV, so you can definitely check us out there too.
Awesome. All right, folks, whilst you're down there finding those links in the description, make sure you hit subscribe, like, and that notifications bell, and we'll see you in the next one.